We stand in line for hours to stand before the gates of heaven, but it's a gate with no door, no path, and no heaven behind it. Just the sky pretending to be something more. But maybe that's exactly what faith has always been, the art of turning empty space into meaning. Welcome to Around the World of Faith, a safe space for the spiritually curious. In eastern Bali, on the slopes of Mount Agung, stands Lempuyang Temple, home to the famous Gates of Heaven. For tourists, it's a photo op. For locals, it's sacred ground. But here's the tension. One side sees divine beauty, the other sees a filtered Instagram illusion. And that tension between faith and facade is exactly where modern spirituality lives. Because maybe what we're chasing in these temples and photos isn't heaven at all. Maybe it's proof that meaning still exists, even if we've left religion behind. Please like and subscribe or leave a comment. I'd love to hear from fellow wanderers. Let's be honest, the idea of heaven needing a gate is strange. If heaven is eternal and boundless, why imagine it with walls and doors? Are they to keep us in, or are they to keep us out? Religions tell us heaven is perfect, yet they describe it with the architecture of the human world, borders, thresholds, rules of entry. Maybe that's because we can't help but picture the divine through the lens of control. Gates don't just invite us in, they remind us of who's allowed and who isn't. Take the pearly gates in Christianity, guarded by St. Peter, the keeper of entry and exclusion, deciding who is worthy to cross into eternal life. In Islam, paradise is said to have 8 gates, each opening for a different virtue, one for prayer, one for charity, one for fasting, as if goodness itself were a key. In ancient Egypt, the soul had to pass through 12 gates of the underworld, reciting sacred knowledge to reach the field of reeds, a paradise mirroring earth, where life continues in perfect balance. In Hindu thought, Svarga Loka is a radiant realm attained through good karma, not a final destination, but a resting place for the soul before it returns to live again. In Norse mythology, the worthy enter Valhalla, a great hall beyond shining gates where warriors feast and fight in eternal preparation for the world's end. And in Chinese Taoism, there is a gate of heaven on Mount Heng, said to open only to those who live in harmony with the Tao, whose lives already flow with the rhythm of heaven itself. Different languages, different landscapes, but the same architectural instinct. We imagine paradise with a doorway. Because we can't help but picture transcendence as a place we can step into, even if the door leads to nothing but sky. And that's what drew me to Bali's Gates of Heaven, a gate that's literally nowhere. When I stood there, the mist enveloped Mount Agung, a volcano that, at one point in our lives in Bali, was active. I expected to feel something, awe, peace, maybe a whisper of the divine, but what I felt was confusion and then a little laughter, because the famous reflection under the gates, it's not water, it's a mirror held under your phone by a local photographer. The heaven you see online is a trick of glass. And honestly, that felt perfect, because isn't that what faith often is? A reflection of what we want to see hovering above reality? I watched Balinese women carrying offerings up the temple stairs, their reverence quiet, unfiltered, real. One of them took my wife and I to the top for a spectacular view. We stood there like everyone else, the tourists taking photos, the locals making offerings, different gestures, same direction. Because even if the gates don't open, maybe what matters is that we keep walking towards them. The gates of heaven aren't really about heaven. They're about longing, about the human need to point something and say, there, beyond that, that's meaningful. When religion fades, that instinct doesn't die. It just changes direction. Some of us turn to nature, art, connection, or the mystery of being itself. The mountain behind the gate, Mount Agung, is an active volcano. Maybe that's the truest symbol of all. The divine as something alive, dangerous, unpredictable, but still sacred. For me, faith isn't about what's beyond the gate anymore. It's about standing here in the space between doubt and belief and still feeling awe. Maybe the gates don't lead anywhere, and maybe they were never meant to. If you've left religion but still feel something calling, you're not alone. I promise you are not alone. Please like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I'd love to hear from fellow wanderers and tell me, do you think there's a real gate of heaven? Thank you.